Hello, everybody! We're back for this year's edition of our 2023 Holiday Special Edition Review episode. I'm Ramses.
And I'm TheVespor.
And this year we're going to start off with an interesting episode of G.I. Joe. And the episode we're going to look back at to get into the holiday festivities is, you know it, Cobra Claws are coming to town.
There's something that's actually kind of funny and interesting, only in the fact that this was a family ordeal. For example, the writers were Carla Conway and Gary Conway, as well as Dan Thomas and Roy Thomas. You know what's even stranger?
What's that?
This is obviously Christmas, because they say it all throughout the episode. But guess when it was originally aired?
At least around Thanksgiving time, right?
How about November 7th?
That's almost 2 months before Christmas even hits.
That's right. Now, you know you're going to be in for a treat when this happens.
Well, this is something else. Don't say we never do something for you guys, because this is giving you the present that keeps on giving for the holidays. This is going to be a very, very special Christmas episode. We're going to get right down to it here. G.I. Joe, you know it, the 1985 series, and the Christmas episode. That's all that you need to know.
Let's go ahead and begin by reassuring everybody that this is indeed a Christmas episode, as we have Polly, that infamous parrot of Shipwreck, singing Jingle Bells.
And here is just a little sample of his wonderful, you better get used to this singing voice here.
Button your beak, bird, or there's a feather duster in your future.
Yeah, so someone's into the Christmas spirit, and it's not Shipwreck. There's a reason why they're all happy here. They're actually en route to picking up Christmas toys. Yes, who knew that the G.I. Joes did Christmas fundraising, and they're driving along, they being CoverGirl, Shipwreck, and Dusty. That's right, they're all driving with the Happy Holiday Wagon attached to the back of the vehicle. Now, this is great. So, they're like, oh, the haul's gonna be great this year, and then you look in the Happy Holiday Wagon, and they have some random boxes, a Teletubby, and
like 5 teddy bears.
yes, and Animal from Muppet Baby. So yeah, I don't know how great these toys are, but they're sure happy about it. And that's why Polly's all excited. Because wow, it's Christmas, we're gonna do all the government donation stuff that you're supposed to do.
But never fear, kids, for Cobra's here to save the day, because Wild Weasel shows up in his Rattler and tries to destroy all the toys, so the Joes will go back and actually get real toys for the boys and girls instead of teddy bears.
The Rattler attacks, and now it's time for some evasive driving, of course. So yeah, oh no, they're under attack, what do we do? And and they get chased into like a ravine. It's all snowy out because what Christmas episode doesn't have snow everywhere. And then all of a sudden, a secret door opens up right next to them.
Now, folks, just to give you an idea, they had 2 choices. They could have gone right or gone left. But they went exactly where they needed to go. Even though the Rattler was having a tough time shooting at them, they're like, well, let's go left. And bam, the luck of Cobra is unreal here, folks. So we have Firefly just suddenly walk out and dump toys into the back.
Oh, Cobra felt left out, and that's why they're upset. They wanted to donate toys too to the kids.
Yeah, probably filled with explosives. I mean, these are the bad guys, even though I joke about them doing a good thing.
So yes, it's the they'll never notice me. So all 3 Joes are still like looking up as the Rattler's flying about. And then he talks into his little communication device. All right, the loot has been dropped. You can back off now. And then Wild Weasel like, yeah, okay. And he flies off and leaves in there. And even Firefly is nowhere to be seen again. I don't know where he went.
And one of the Joes at that point just looks up and says, gee, they had us dead to rights. Why did they leave?
And then CoverGirl's like, oh, let's not look at gift horse in the mouth, who cares? And get used to this, because CoverGirl's going to have that very dismissive, who cares attitude. And that's it. That's the whole situation.
Ah, but look, I guess I was right about something, Ramses. Do you see that little rocking horse there?
Oh, wait a minute. Those eyes are glowing. You are right. It's a bomb. It's a robot. It's
something.
Oh, maybe that's the idea. They're going to explode all the toys so nobody can enjoy Christmas. I see.
Well, I don't think it's that, because the Rattler could have done that earlier on. He just left. I mean, look how many bombs he has when he turns away, folks. Look at that. He could have annihilated all 3. We gotta see what sort of Rube Goldbergian plan that Cobra Commander has come up with for this.
Yeah, it's gonna be something else. So they're gonna drive back to base now, and you're gonna see what happens during the holiday time at G.I. Joe headquarters. And you find out that most G.I. Joe members are allowed to go home during the holidays. That's very nice. I guess as long as terrorism takes a rest during Christmas, we're all right. But that's taking a very big risk that the terrorists will stop attacking during this time. But I guess they're gambling. Oh, Cobra won't attack us during Christmas.
Oh, that's right, because this country has never been attacked on a holiday.
So yeah, they get back to base, and as they mentioned that we're down on troops here, everyone home for the holidays, Duke's like, don't worry, we got a security that is unbreakable, and then he goes to show us how this security works.
That's right, folks. Where do you put the controls to your security grid. When you're a Joe, it has to be very handy and accessible, so they put it on the side of the garage.
Wait, what, on the side of the garage? That's a horrible place to put it. Let's say that, yeah, so Duke pushes the button there, and you see lasers appear out of nowhere, and satellite dishes come to life. Wow. Isn't that the garage opener? Are you sure that's security system here?
Well, I guess they were cutting back a little bit on the funding for the Joes, I guess.
So we find out that there's only 9 members in total. You know, the G.I. Joe has, what, 30 to 50 members?
Well, every episode we get introduced more, just sort of like in Transformers.
Yes, they appear out of the woodworks. But here we have 9 members in total, and we don't need to name them all. They're all sitting at the table. But who we will mention is Roadblock. That's right. He is the chef of the team. He does other things, but he is known for his cooking prowess. And he's going to bring out a giganto turkey that's like as big as the table, and he plops it down.
Oh, if you don't believe how big this turkey is, look at the piece Junkyard gets. That turkey leg is bigger than his head, and he's a Rottweiler. And Rottweilers are not small dogs.
They're all happy, all festive, yay.
Except for, of course, Mutt, who excuses himself, and Junkyard is so sad for him that he leaves the turkey leg behind. Now, that is some real loyalty to a dog. The reason for Mutt being so depressed is because, if you listen to this, his parents were so glad and happy about Christmas, celebrating it, that he felt left out.
You see, when I was a kid, my folks made such a fuss about the holidays, they didn't have time for me. Never got to trim the tree or wrap presents. They never even let me hang up my own stocking.
And this is a big holiday trope that a lot of shows will do. The one who doesn't get into the spirit and the downtrodden and, oh, I wish I had a Christmas like, others did.
How is trimming the tree and wrapping presents as like a 6 or 7-year-old kid fun and enjoyable? I did those things because my parents made me do it. I did not enjoy them. I enjoyed the artificial tree eventually because, you know what? I didn't have to trim that sucker.
So I'm not understanding why he's depressed here. Is it maybe because he couldn't go home and he was one of the 9 chosen to stay behind? That could be the real reason why he's depressed. But unfortunately, we're gonna have to leave it here. We'll get back to Mutt getting over his depression. Hopefully by the end of the episode, he'll feel better. Mutt is having his pity party. Cobra decides at this point, this is so pathetic, even we can't stay in hiding anymore. So we're gonna find out what their plan is. The rocking horse of doom or death turns out to be a dum-dum-dum. It is a Trojan horse all along. And you're probably thinking, so wait a minute, isn't that thing like kid size? What do you mean Trojan horse? What do they have in there? Like an ant army or something? Well, we're about to find out. The thing opens up and what's that shooting out of the top of it? That looks like Major Blood.
Yeah, and other Cobra troopers, and holy crap, look, there's vehicles, there's all these Cobra things just suddenly coming out of nowhere. And you know what I was thinking when this happened? Why did they do it right in front of Mutt and Junkyard? If you look here, when they blast out and start parachuting down, they have like 20 guns trained on Mutt and Junkyard, and then you're like, oh, this could be really bad. Then they shoot Junkyard in the muzzle, and he's like, ow.
I don't care what size it is. If these lasers can destroy at a little size, it would have left a burn mark across them or something.
What would happen is the lasers would superheat their blood in there and cause an explosion.
The Cobra troops start showing up out of everywhere, and one of the troops they start using here is a very interesting one. The Snakes. That's SNAKE.
Let's let Ramses just take one guess at what this actually is.
Synthesized nuclear assault killing equipment. Yeah, that might work.
Unfortunately for you, that's nowhere near close. SNAKE actually stands for System Neutralizer Armed Cloaking with a K Equipment.
Whatever. That's what SNAKE stand for, in case you're ever wondering. I didn't make the acronym. I think my acronym's better, and I just came up with that on the fly. But anyway, so yes, now you have fangs and claws and all sorts of equipment. Mutt is like, oh my god, what is going on here? It was a Trojan horse all along.
To his credit, Mutt runs over to the alarm and gets ready to pull it down when he gets assaulted by the vehicles, and suddenly we come to find out all of them are equipped with this green gas that knocks him out. But thankfully, he gets the alarm off. Although I'm sitting here going, I don't remember them ever being equipped with gas, but hey, whatever. It's G.I. Joe.
So now the alarm goes off, and Mutt and Junkyard are knocked out by the green
gas of doom.
Yeah, of destruction, whatever this stuff is. So the Joes hear the alarm and is, oh my god, what's going on? They all run out. The shrunk Baroness in the Rattler destroys the control panel, the garage opener that controlled the security system. So now you watch all the red beams turn off, and the satellite stops spinning around. I'm like, wow, what a ridiculous security system.
But I want to point this out, folks. If you destroy the controls, it doesn't shut it down.
No, it just makes it, you can't turn it off. You just destroyed the way to turn it off. You didn't destroy the alarm, you destroyed the way to turn it off.
That's right. Oh, well, I guess this could prove some little bit of difficulty to the Joes on base, except for the fact that you literally just turn off the power and turn off the entire system.
Right, so this super alarm that was activated by one button, it probably cost like $10,000 a minute.
No, this is the U.S. government we're talking about. That button probably cost $100 million.
Now, it's a ridiculous scene. So all these shrunken Cobra troops in their shrunken vehicles are like swarming around like angry hornets against all the Joes, and they're shooting them. Now they can get away with shooting them because suddenly shrunken weapons don't hurt as much as the regular size weapon. I would love someone to prove this, that just because you're shrinking it, it's not going to hurt at all.
Well, I want to point out, in that scene just before where Baroness took it out, I don't know, it blew up that side of that wall pretty good, so I think that those Joes would be cut in half by this.
I don't get why all of a sudden they're allowed to fire or whatever, but they snuck in a little, haha, we can get away with it now, but they really can't. I think the writers and animators got away with it a little bit here. And anyone that watches G.I. Joe should know this. You're not allowed to kill, fire, hurt anybody in the 80s cartoons. But anyway, so the security goes down, and then Firefly shows up out of nowhere holding this ridiculous-looking, snapped-together device, and we don't even know what this thing is. Roadblock karate chops one of the jets, the Cobra rattlers, it explodes. The chair and the trooper that was in it both parachute out separately. The whole thing is ridiculous-looking, actually. And that's it, and they've never seen it again. So now let's find out what the gun does here, because that's going to be interesting. So the gun returns all the currently seen troops back to normal. So it's a size manipulation race somehow. We don't know more than that. And they're all back to normal size, minus the guy that was just ejected out of the plane, by the way.
And this also raises so many questions. Why didn't they just shoot the Joes first and shrink them, and then they could have literally have made everybody else bigger afterwards?
Right. You could have had a lot of fun with this Ray and really taken over Joe Base very easily if you did this right. But no, we're going to use it to return our troops so we can have a fair fight now, because that's Cobra. We want a fair fight, of course. And they're going to battle it out, and the snakes are now the ones giving them all the trouble. You know, those robots, they can't shoot them, and now they're all back to regular size, and Duke is shooting, it's doing nothing, and then he rams the butt of the rifle gun right through the glass part, and then suddenly it's totally vulnerable, and he blows it apart. I'm like, wow, okay. And then Cobra Commander shows up out of nowhere.
Season's greetings.
And then they use the secret weapon that seems to be the Joe's weakness. And what is it? Yes, that green gas we mentioned before. That is the Joe's only weakness. It's the only way to defeat them.
Yep, knocks them out almost instantly. And this is where we come to find out 7 Joes are more than capable of literally taking out the entirety of all the named bad guys here at this point.
And it's funny, they fire the gas, and it must be like targeted gas, I guess, that it'll only affect the opposite side. I guess the green gas only goes after G.I. Joe members no matter how close the Cobra troops are.
Maybe they actually had an air filter in there. What do the bad guys do after they capture all the good guys?
I don't know. What do they do, Vespor? Something horrible, I would assume.
They monologue.
Monologue? That seems like a very 80s bad guy thing to do.
You are relieved of command, Sergeant Duke Hauser.
You know, when they whip the full name out, you're in trouble, and that's exactly what it feels like here. And you know, bad guys love to tell the good guys their plans, because what's the fun of being a bad guy if you can't monologue and tell your plans and make sure that the good guys know exactly what you're going to do, so that when you do it, they have a chance to stop you. If you don't tell them what they're going to do, how are they going to stop you? And what is his great plan here? Well, we see on the screen, Duke is making an announcement. G.I. Joe is no longer serving the people. We are now bad guys, and we're going to take over. That's pretty much improvising what he says. And they're all like, yes, no, Duke, he wouldn't turn on us. And even Cobra Commander's like, that's right, he wouldn't turn on you, but I have someone that can do the job just fine. And who is it?
It's Zartan!
Always whip out the Zartan card when you can't figure out how to go about things.
While all this is going on, Wild Bill, of course, has to make fun of Destro's little pop gun here, but that's when we actually find out the name of this thing is actually called a molecular reducer / enlarger.
Why not just call it the size gun or the growth ray or the size ray or something? Yes. And then he's so proud, he's like, I've done a decade's worth of research to make this thing. And then you look at the thing, it looks like it's going to fall apart at any second. Like even the trigger is like a different color from the rest of it. It's all slanted and bent. How does that thing change the size of anything? What is in that thing that is causing size change to happen with a mere blast of it?
Well, I'm going to raise you one here on this one. He said it took a decade's worth of research to make this gun, which means they could literally make an army of these guns if they wanted
Absolutely. And again, we're not going to talk about it yet. We're saving it for a very special part. Stay tuned. You're going to want to hear our true thoughts on the molecular reducer enlarger here. So what is the plan here? Well, the plan is Keystone City, which we assume is in Pennsylvania because that's the Keystone State. We're going to take over Keystone City as a sample of what we're going to accomplish now. Cobra is going to use G.I. Joe's own vehicles to attack Keystone City and show that they're now working as enemies. And this will be Cobra's great plan because now it will disillusion everybody that G.I. Joe has become corrupt and they're not working for the government anymore and we got to stop them.
By the way, just want to point out, you know, this is sort of like the Transformers, and the bad guys have to come up with this overly complicated plan that makes no sense. They have all these Joes here. Why not kill them and blow up their base? They can't make equipment overnight.
No, I agree. You have the base under control. You can get all the files, the secrets, and destroy the base. They're now in a really big disadvantage. Guess what they do? So G.I. Joe is about to ransack Cobra Commander. The snakes again stop them, and they're all handcuffed and put away. Take them away. This is it. So instead of killing them, no, we're just gonna put them away for good and just like mock them that they can't do anything to stop us. This is the great plan. It makes no sense at all.
And the best part about all this is that, of course, you have to end that scene with a little quote.
Put them on ice.
We go to the next scene, and they're all hanging on meat hooks in the G.I. Joe meat locker, because every base needs one of those. So they're all moaning and groaning, oh, I hate this, and I hate puns, and whatever, and they're all like, oh, this sucks. Shipwreck is like, time to get myself into a relationship with this piece of meat over here. Like, what?
Oh, that's right. Cover Girl's like, is your brain frostbitten? And normally that'd be true with Shipwreck, but the thing is, we can see that Shipwreck really, really likes his meat.
He figures he's about to be frozen to death, so hey, might as well go out with style. Right?
Yep, but guess what? He's not going to do that meat what you think he's going to do. Instead, he's going to lift himself up and off of it.
He's a sailor, all right? Let's not give Shipwreck more credit than he deserves. He's not Mr. Athletic either, so he'd be exhausted after trying to swing around nonstop with a piece of huge meat next to you as you're trying to angle your handcuffs off of a hook in the air. That's a lot of effort and work. And
well, not to mention, an hour in that meat locker, and as you can see, they're covered with ice already. Shouldn't they already be hypothermic and dead by this point?
And Shipwreck has an open vested shirt, as you notice, with no sleeves.
Well, look at Polly. Polly should have long been dead on the ground.
I know. And Polly's mocking him the whole time, which is the funniest part of the scene. Cobra Commander loves to gloat, and this is the Starscream in Cobra Commander. I know it's played by the same voice actor, different characters, but they have a lot of similarities in that, all right, it worked, you won, good job. But no, that's not good enough for Cobra Commander. So what is he going to do to gloat in the G.I. Joe's poor misfortune of their situation here?
Cobra Commander taunts him by putting the actual key, not a fake, not something to get their hopes up, but the actual key to escaping right there next to them, because he is following Dr. Evil here.
All right, guard, begin the unnecessarily slow-moving dipping mechanism. Close the tank!
Wait, aren't you even gonna watch them? They could get away.
No. I'm going to leave them alone and not actually witness them dying. I'm just going to assume it all went to plan. What?
Yeah, he definitely is. So I guess they all go to the same evil school. Like, lock up our enemies, the tough ones that were almost impossible to beat, that we finally defeated, but leave them in the room, their own vices, so they can get out of this trap.
And also, Cobra also uses the same school that teaches stormtroopers how to shoot, because they can't shoot anybody but themselves.
So he leaves the actual key. Put the little bow on the key, so you can see Cobra Commander was really thinking this out. Oh, and I'll even put a little bow on it to show him how festive I am and mock him some more. And of course, Shipwreck is able to get loose after Cobra Commander leaves, and he frees everybody else. And how stupid is this?
By the way, they all should have already been swinging icicles by now, just saying.
So now, while this is all going on, Destro is just talking to himself here. He's working on the molecular reducer / enlarger here, trying to fix it.
The reducer enlarger should function properly. Not that it matters now.
And you find out he's only talking to some snakes that are standing there. The Joes all show up the second that Destro finishes his monologue.
While he's monologuing, by the way, the Joes try to figure out, have they left the base with their equipment? And yes, they have. And you know how they figured this out? They use their built-in 9,000-inch TV screen.
Oh, yes, that's right. Now I do remember that, yes. Now look how small Tripwire is as he's looking up at the TV that owns him.
And I know exactly how the Joes got this. So, Ramses, let me tell you a little story of how this happened. General Hawk, I think we need a 9,000-inch TV screen.
Why do we need a 9,000-inch TV screen?
It's so that we can monitor all of the activities of Cobra across the entire planet.
I'll go approve of the funding and put it in right now, Duke. You got it.
2 moments later.
I haven't lost my temper in 40 years. But Pilgrim, you caused a lot of trouble this morning. Might have got somebody killed. And somebody ought to belt you in the mouth. But I won't. I won't. The hell I will.
Why do they need a TV this gigantic? This is so ridiculous. The thing is bigger than the wall, and they look at, oh no, Cobra's attacking, and the vehicles look tiny on this gigantic screen as they're looking at it.
Well, you know what? It was money well spent. I mean, I like that movie that they're playing.
So then CoverGirl answers him, and what do? Well, they shoot the snakes in 2 seconds. I don't even know where they got their weapons back. I guess they just ran to the weapons locker and grabbed some more. And unlike before, these snakes are very easily defeated. You can see the bullet holes down the back, and they all explode. So
yeah, that makes absolutely no sense.
Where did our continuity go here, right?
You know what? This is an 80s cartoon. We don't believe in that. They all are standing there with their guns pointed directly at Destro. But you know what he does? He picks up his gun, goes, "Or do I have you?" and then takes a full 5 seconds to laugh.
And then we go to commercial after he fires. I'm like, wow. So he had time to pick up the device, aim it at them, laugh loudly. So what is the point of holding their weapons at him if it has zero effect or scares him at all? What is the point of all this?
Yeah, well, you know what's even funnier about all this? He just starts shooting randomly, and the Joes forget they can shoot back at him, and he starts shrinking random things like that washing machine over there.
No, not the washing machine. There goes some tables, and there goes another rando device and a bookshelf. He's loving it. He's like, yeah, I'm shrinking everything around here.
And by the way, he says, I'm going to shrink you, Joes, to subatomic nothingness. By the way, thing can't do it. He only shrunk the washing machine, the tables, and the door. They did not disappear.
Right, they're still there, they're regular shrunken size. Again, we're going to talk about the usefulness of this ray in a moment, because I want you guys to see how this scene plays out. So, Polly, who's had enough of this, he's the only brave one. All the other Joes holding their weapons, by the way, do absolutely nothing. He swoops in on Destro, starting to peck at his metallic helmet, which again would do nothing. But Destro's like, get away from me, you annoying insect, and he turns him into an annoying insect because finally we get this stupid ray used on something else besides the door, and Polly shrinks to like insect size now. It's like, oh, okay, well, that's a good idea. Yes, shrink down everyone, and I think that's a good use of the ray, and then you'll be able to defeat all the Joes like that.
But the most important part here is, now that he's distracted, do the Joes take time to shoot him? No. CoverGirl says dogpile him, and guess what? They all tackle him instead of killing him.
But okay, the parrot got hurt. Oh well, now we'll take our time to now all tackle on Destro. Not shoot him, not cuff him, just pile on him. And it's like every single Joe, all 7 or 8 of them, they're all piling hard onto Destro, and he's done for. So now we have to get back to what happened to poor Polly. Yeah, Polly's around, and Wild Bill says, who's let these annoying flies in here? He's about to crush poor Polly to nothingness, and even Shiver's like, no, that's my bird, don't do that.
As this happened right in front of him, folks, he knew that was Polly, and he's like, I'm going to end him, and it's like, oh my, this is getting dark real quick.
Yeah, I guess Wild Bill has had enough of Polly singing also. I can't blame him.
But we also have a little bit of foreshadowing that something is wrong, because CoverGirl picks up the molecular reducer enlarger array and shakes about and hears things going tinkle, tinkle, tinkle.
As sparks are flying out of it. Hey, something's not right here. We'll use it anyway. It's like, okay, yeah, that's a great idea. So, pretty much they're going to shoot Polly while he's on Shipwreck's face, which is probably a really, really bad idea unless you want a gigantic Shipwreck and a regular-sized Polly. That's probably not the way to do it. So even Shipwreck's like, oh, hey, wait till it gets off of me first. So they actually do that. And they shoot Polly with this very clearly malfunctioning molecular reducer enlarger, but they're going to shoot him anyway because, hey, at least it's the bird, not us, so we'll take a little experiment here. Who cares? That's pretty much the attitude we get here. And it works, or so we think. Polly returns back to normal size, but he feels weird because the device didn't work right, so he's all queasy and knocked out, and he collapses into Shipwreck's hand, but at least he's back to normal size, so whoop, thank goodness that moment is over. He puts him on the shrunken table, so Polly looks a lot bigger here, but actually Polly's regular size on the shrunken table. Before we get to what happens here, I think now is a good time to show the misuses of this ray. Now, this is going to give an example of what could have been. So don't you think they could have done this plan totally different here? You have a size manipulation ray that took you 10 years of research to make, and your great plan is we're going to shrink down our troops and vehicles, break in, turn up the security, and then return everyone back to normal size, and that's going to be all we use this ray for. Don't you think they could have done everything very differently here if you used the enlarging part of it? You could have made giant-sized troops, you could have made giant-sized robots, you could have made creatures that you control with mind control. You could have done so many different things to have used this ray properly.
Why don't we just make our robots gigantic to destroy the base?
Yeah, exactly.
Why not shrink the base down to subatomic levels?
Exactly, that would have worked too.
And you wouldn't have to wait till Christmas. You want everybody in there so you get rid of them all at the same time.
So why did they do any of this? Well, because Cobra is stupid. There you go, that's the answer. So now why do I bring all this up? Because I'm saving the most iconic part of this episode for next. Now, this is the moment that I think everyone remembers. We just told you Polly is returned to normal size, quote unquote. They leave him there, and now look what happens. Uh-oh, it malfunctioned. They very clearly show you the ray is malfunctioning, and now Polly is getting bigger by the moment. It does show you Why didn't they use the ray like this? They want to take over the world. They're not trying to do it in a peaceful way. You send giant creatures and monsters and use the size in your advantage, and that would have, well, whatever. We already said our part there. But anyway, yes, Polly is growing.
But don't worry about that. We just see he's getting big. Maybe he won't get too big.
That's true. Maybe he's just going to be like a person size.
But what we do find out is that Cobra's equipment is going to be used by the Joes to go and stop them.
Wait a minute. It took an hour for them to get the Joe's equipment ready, right?
Yes.
But now they're just going to jump right into the drivers and pilot seats of all these vehicles and fly off like nothing.
Well, to be fair, this is about the only time in the entire episode that it makes sense. The Cobra equipment would be ready for action since they were prepared for a mission and the Joe's equipment wasn't prepared for a mission.
Well, why did they leave it there in the slim chance that other Joe members show up?
I'm only defending the fact that it's fueled and has ammo. I'm not defending the facts that Cobra left the keys to their equipment in it and left it alone.
No, this is why the bad guys always lose, I'll tell you folks. And now I want you guys to hear this funny quote that two rando truck drivers are talking about.
This is a lot of hooey. Martians land in Hoboken. Newark, I could believe, but Hoboken?
You know what the silly thing about this is the fact that as soon as the G.I. Joe's equipment's driven right by them, they get off the road real quick and they're like, gee, that's G.I. Joe. I thought they were on our side. I'm like, what? And then the best part is that Zartan and his crew drive by and shoot out their tires instead of shooting and blowing up the truck.
Yeah, I'm like, what type of terrorists are these? So they won't grow robots, they won't grow creatures, they won't shrink them down, they won't kill the G.I. Joe members they captured. Some innocent bystanders in the truck. This will be perfect. We're in G.I. Joe vehicles. What do? Flat tires. And the windows got broken somehow. They shot the tires, but you see broken windows all over the place. I'm like, boy, that must have been some flat tire.
It is what it is. And then we get to see Cobra Commanders actually piloting the F-14 with a cockpit as big as a freaking space shuttle.
Yeah, this is gigantic. I'm like, wow, look how much room you have in this thing. Stupidly, again, Duke is left not in a seatbelt, not in a harness, and with his hands handcuffed in front of him. Every officer should know you handcuff behind for that exact reason. You do not leave their hands available so they can attack you. You leave their hands behind them so they can't do anything to you.
Well, and also thanks to Top Gun, I also recognize those two little gray circles above his head is what you pull to activate your ejection seat.
I can see very clearly now why Cobra has lost every single time. So now G.I. Joe is attacking Cobra with the Cobra equipment, and it's going well. It shows that it's not the vehicle, it is the person driving the vehicle that is effective.
This also proves that Cobra's equipment is more than capable of taking out the entirety of the Joe forces. Hey, isn't the Cobra equipment that much more inferior than the G.I. Joe? No, it's just you hire morons to pilot your equipment, you're going to have stormtrooper-like results.
But things are going to take a turn for the ridiculous and crazy, and now I think this is the moment that everybody enjoys so much. So Polly wakes up now, and he's gigantic. He's not just human-sized now. He is filling up the whole entire room there, and he pretty much raises the roof, I'll use the term, and leaves a giant gaping hole that's probably going to cost $1 million to fix.
Oh, no. This is G.I. Joe base. It is reinforced bunker that is designed to stop missiles and bombs and lasers and everything else known to mankind. And a bird just broke through it.
With a little head bump into it. Like, really? Wow.
I think this more proves that Cobra should have used their ray gun for different things than shrinking their own troops.
Yeah, maybe the ray gives pants power to whatever it makes bigger. That's what I mean. It does make sense. So, look at the power that this malfunctioning device just had on a mere bird, all right? I think this is where the episode has gone now. Yes, and by the way, don't forget, Keystone City is 33 miles from G.I. Joe base. I want you guys to keep that number in mind, yeah?
And we come back to see Cobra in the Joe's equipment destroying and doing bad things. Until suddenly, out of nowhere, from behind, comes the Joes in Cobra's equipment, destroying them like they are nothing.
Except for Baroness. She puts up a little bit of a fight here. Baroness is actually doing a good job to at least almost sort of kind of hit them. Where she'll fire at the road and the road rips open. And they do some evasive maneuvers here.
Yeah, and she takes out Roadblock and Mutt. And then, of course, Roadblock, putting in his rhyme, says,
That witch has a way with a laser ray.
And it's still funny because there was many moments in this episode where Roblox didn't rhyme, by the way, so it sort of broke character, but at least he went back to his rhyming when he did this. But that was like the only time where I was like, oh, okay, Baroness actually did something good. But again, what does Baroness do after defeating them? She drives away, not caring at all.
Well, I mean, this is Cobra we're talking about, but you know what? This is the best part about the entire episodes right here is we have freaking Wild Bill in a thing, also known as a fully armed Negator gyrocopter.
Oh, it rolls right out the tongue. I like
Oh,
that,
absolutely. Does a full barrel roll.
Nobody can do that with a fang. Nobody.
I looked Ramses right in the eye at that time and I said, that's what plot armor looks like.
Whatever, the Joes are magical. Whenever they get behind any equipment, we'll just go with that because it makes no sense. Wild Wheels gets shot down, that's the end of him. He's gone now because he parachutes out and look where he goes. He goes right into the flames of the explosion and you never see the character again. So
he's dead. Shipwreck and the Trouble Bubble come in and blow up the Baroness as well. So I mean, we're doing good.
Too. Yeah, we're killing them all.
And he is the absolute first Joe to say,
Hate to see our equipment get blasted like that.
I would hate to destroy my stuff, absolutely. Yeah.
what about you, Cover Girl?
What's gotta be's gotta be.
Did you hear that?
Yes, it sounded like a... Is that a cash register?
Ah, my wallet feels really light all of a sudden.
Oh no, doesn't she realize what's gonna happen now? Our taxes just went up to replace all those vehicles. And Cover Girl's all like, oh, whatever.
Just look at that smug look on her face, too.
She's so happy about it. Hey, whatever, I love destroying
And this is
stuff.
supposed to be Christmas. It doesn't mean I want to give you new equipment.
Thanks, Cover Girl.
Don't you mean Cover Claws?
So Cover Girl now flies in behind F-14 that has both Cobra Commander and Duke in it, and she fires a huge rocket past them. That was just a warning shot, and I guess her communication system's hooked into theirs, so yeah, I guess she would know.
Wait a second. You don't fire missiles as warning shots. Wow, I guess she just killed a bunch of innocent civilians.
Yeah, I guess Queso City is gonna blame G.I. Joe for the destruction that...
No, wait. She's in the Rattler.
Oh, yeah, we'll just blame Cobra for that one.
There we go.
So now Cobra Commander is all like, oh, I'll show you. He does a barrel roll, flies behind Cover Girl, and now he's pushing buttons on the console. Rocket locked in, blah, blah, blah. So Duke now, who's freed, by the way, again, makes no sense. Why didn't you lock Duke in place? Why is he hard down? Why do you even have Duke there? Again, I don't get it.
Especially when you just have Zartan dressed up as Duke.
But no, we're going to take the real Duke, but not keep him constrained or restrained at all. And he reaches over with his still not constrained arms, by the way, they're in handcuffs. It starts to gag and choke at Cobra Commander sitting in front of him. Again, this whole thing is so stupid because this is so dumb that the bad guys don't know what they're doing here. And as he's struggling with Duke, Cobra Commander is finally able to push a button and a rocket goes off, but of course it's off center because, he's shaking about from Duke, and it merely clips the wing of Cover Girl's Rattler.
By clip, he means blow it completely off as she is spiraling to her death until we see a giant Polly come in and grip it, and we're like, wow, that bird is absolutely terrifyingly fast.
Yeah, remember, we mentioned 33 miles away. They showed this here. I'll show you the sign again. So Polly flies 30 miles per minute, I guess, right? Is that the record speed that he's flying at?
I guess so, but you know what? There's another bird that flies that fast.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess he is rodent size now, almost. I mean, he's still growing. So yes, the gigantic bird talon catches the whole entire half-blown-up Rattler, and he slams him down, and it's such a crazy scene. Like I said, this is the moment I think everybody remembers of this episode.
After that, Polly comes back, and Cobra Commander's still fighting with Deuce, like, monologuing about what he's going to do.
We'll never stop, we'll never give up to, and what scares Cobra more than all, we learn here, a giant-sized parrot, obviously, yes. Because Polly sort of squawks in front of Cobra, and Cobra Commander is freaked out like he's never even imagined such a horrible creation. This is the worst thing I've ever seen. A gigantic parrot. Oh my god, I am getting out of here. And that's it. Cobra uses the escape pod and you never see him again. He was so scared, he got scared to death by Polly.
That's right, he ejects with Duke on top of him. And I'm sitting here thinking, this thing's probably going like several hundred miles an hour, and Polly's easily overtaken.
Cobra Commander again, never seen again. I don't know what happened to him, but Duke is now flying to his doom. But don't worry, we got Giga Polly. He merely just reaches a talon out and grabs, like, as if it's a fist, which is great.
By the way, he shrunk for this because he picked up the jet easily with 2 talons, and Duke is now fully taking up 1 talon.
Yeah, so Polly's size is changing back and forth here. So he's pretty much Skyfire, I guess.
That's right, he's Skyfire. But you know what the best part is? All these Cobra agents have been totally defeated by the Joes, and Cobra Commander's slowly coming down in a parachute somewhere, and they all forget that they're completely Cobra defeated, and they're slowly wounded, dying.
No, it's time to be happy and jovial, and let's talk about Christmas here. Like, wow, that was a weird segue. All right, so all the bad guys are still out there. Some of them charred bodies, destruction of the city. Ha ha ha! Let's talk about Christmas now.
And you know what? Mutt really absolutely loves Christmas now that there's been death, destruction,
carnage, explosions, mayhem. Yeah, he's so happy. He's like, golly gee, Junkyard, that really got me out of my funk here. I love Christmas now. I'm like, what?
Yeah, and the Joes are going to fix this malfunctioning matter reducer and larger array so they can fix Polly, but freaking Shipwreck has to take care of this monumental-sized bird, as you can see
Who got
here.
bigger again. Now he looks like he's 100 feet tall as he looms over Shipwreck like he's the master.
Hey, you know what? Shipwreck, being Shipwreck, is not liking this because he can barely stand Polly at times. But Polly's like, Merry Christmas, and then Shipwreck's like, I've had enough of this, turns around, walks away, and says, Bah humbug.
And that's how the episode ends.
As with everything in the 80s, this episode does not connect to any other.
No, so that's it. Polly took over and all the Cobra members died. So there you go. That's the real ending.
Did you see the nice, wonderful holiday theme here?
Well, this is a lot of fun, Vespor, but as you know, at the end of every one of our reviews, we do what we like to call our final review of the episode. It is my Christmas gift to you. You may have the honors of reviewing this episode first.
Gee, thanks, don't give me a real gift, huh? This episode of G.I. Joe was actually incredibly fun to watch. I love giant monsters in this, but I still couldn't help to think that the use of this weapon was entirely not utilized to its full potential, and quite frankly, it sort of broke canon in the G.I. Joe universe. Everything that Cobra did, they did on a big scale. I mean, like, let's have, like, this disease that takes over the planet, let's do all this fun stuff. In this one, they had something that could literally have just, well, taken over the world with it. It took 10 years of research to make it. They have the research so they can mass produce this thing. It really breaks canon. I do not like it when they do that in movies and things like that. But besides that, the episode was very fun. All 80s cartoons and 90s took leaps in logic, but this one took it to a whole new level. It's like, holy crap. The only thing they did get right was before all this happened, everybody was having a good time, and there was always that one grump at every family get-together, in this case, Mutt. But besides that, I would say this follows the beats of a typical G.I. Joe episode, and it was actually kind of a fun ending in the fact that they recognized it was Christmas, and I guess just let Cobra live to have another day to try to take over the world. And with that being said, I'm going to give this a 3.5 stars. This is definitely one to watch. It's very enjoyable. Like in our other holiday specials, the message was kind of mixed there at the end with all the death and destruction and giant monsters and other things, but it still had a nice feel to it, and they were celebrating it, and they were trying to make the best of it. The bad guys always have to ruin that Christmas spirit somehow.
Yeah, very true. Vespor, I enjoyed this episode a lot. I remember it very well. You know, when this episode shows up, no matter when it is, whether it's during holiday time or otherwise, it's one of those, oh my god, I gotta see this again, because did this really happen in this episode? Is there really a gigantic bird that is pretty much scaring Cobra so bad that that's what causes the win? Yeah, that's exactly what happens. I mean, the whole thing's ridiculous. Now, the problem with this episode is the scheme and reason for them to set this all in motion. So the G.I. Joe troops collect toys, and somehow Cobra was able to find this out, and somehow they were able to come up with this weird plan. Oh, it's a good thing after 10 years, our size manipulation ray is done. How can we use this? I have a great idea. We'll do the Trojan horse routine and sneak it all into with their toys. Very stupid plan. I didn't love it. You have a size manipulation ray. There are so many fun things you could do with it. You could have made this so much more fun if you had, like, giant snakes or giant animals. You could have, like, shrunk down the whole base. You could have, like, just had so much fun here. But no, it's such a minor plot that this size manipulation ray is only used pretty much to sneak into the base, return to normal, and then it just merely malfunctions, and that's why you get the giant monster at the end. What a missed opportunity. So yeah, that's the problem with the episode. But besides that, it's a lot of fun. I love the interactions. I love the puns. I love the silliness. It's very action-packed, and it also ties in the holiday here and there. They're collecting toys, they say Merry Christmas a lot, so they're not hiding the fact that it's Christmas. They have a Christmas dinner, and then they have Mutt, who's all depressed. I hate Christmas, only to love it because there was a huge battle at the end, and now he loves Christmas. The whole idea of attacking a city is ridiculous. Like, why a city? Why not attack multiple cities? Why not set up bombs everywhere? And I'm gonna take Duke with me, and that'll prove it. It's like, really? But we're not gonna constrain him. We have him well captured, we're just gonna put him on hooks, and I'm gonna mock him with a key. So there's just a lot of stupid, inconvenient moments of the episode. But does that mean I didn't like it? No, I actually like this episode a lot. I'm even going to give it better than Vespor because I remember this episode very well. I'm going to give it 4 stars. I think this is just such a classic, memorable, ridiculous episode. I really think it's one of those, if you haven't experienced Cobra Claws to Come to Town, you have to. For the Polly moments itself, which are so ridiculous, and then the episode ends with them all laughing and joking as Polly is standing there while you have dying and moaning people all around us who are just going to forget, hey, it's Christmas time, let's just laugh and have fun here. I mean, it is so over the top. I love this episode. Watch Cobra Claws are Coming to Town. You won't be sorry that you did.
We hope you're enjoying our holiday special editions.
Let us know what you thought of this. Are we the only ones that really enjoy this episode, or do you have fond memories of the ridiculousness of this episode? We want to hear your feedback. But with that all said, it's time for us to get to our holiday shopping, and we'll be back, folks. But until we are back, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and of course,
ring that bell. And happy holidays, everybody.
Ho, ho, ho. See you